Hello everyone, this is Stephanie, your CSA coach, and this is my special guest, my nephew Rhett. Can you say hi, Rhett? Can you wave hi to everybody? He was at the farm today with me, helping me pick all of the pick your own crops and the flowers, so you might have seen him if you were picking up at the same time as me. So he is staying with us for the week. But jumping right into our CSA shares, we had a lot of the same produce last week, so a lot of it is a repeat, but we're gonna jump right into what we have and how to use it, how to store it. We'll start with our salad mix. Our salad mix gets stored just like this in the fridge, best used for salads, or a base for salads, so you can do the salad boards. Look that PDF up on our hub. You can just make a simple salad and dress those salad greens or add any of our other produce to make a more ornate salad. But stored just like that, do not wash it until you're ready to use it. Once you wash it, I like to soak it and then spin it in the salad spinner to get it nice and dry before I dress it. We have onions this week. So we have a red and a yellow onion, or a sweet onion, sorry. These are stored, they're cured, so they're stored in a cool, dry place until you're ready to use them. Onions can be eaten raw or cooked. They can be sauteed. They can be thinly sliced and put on salads. They can be roasted. So I am planning on doing a big sheet pan roasted vegetables meal, which I will use the onions for this week. We are also planning on doing a homemade salad or a homemade pizza. So we'll probably saute some onions to put on the pizzas. So cool, dry place for these. They are cured. They're not fresh anymore. All right. We also have garlic. Garlic is stored in a cool, dry place as well, same as the onions. Garlic is used to enhance flavor in just about every dish. If you're making a tomato salad, it would be great in that. If you got extra cucumbers from the farm, it would be great in that. It's awesome in dressings. It's awesome roasted. It's used in pretty much almost every recipe that I do. So you will use a clover too if you're using a recipe off the blog. You could do a big roasted tomato soup or roasted tomato sauce, which will utilize onions and garlic also. So these are stored in a cool, dry place. New this week, we have radishes. So these are French breakfast radishes. The very first thing that you want to do with these is snip off the tops. The tops get stored in a separate bag and can be eaten either raw or sauteed down, just like our greens that we do, kale, Swiss chard, anything like that, or our turnip top greens, or any of the other greens or beet greens. We can saute them down, but you can also chop them up and eat them raw. The bottoms, you can thinly slice and throw them on salads, or you can pickle them. You can roast them. There's a couple recipes for radishes on the blogs. There's a radish toast. There is a quick marinated radish. There's a pickling PDF, I believe, a quick pickle PDF on our hub. So these you can utilize for that as well. Pickled radishes are really good on top of burgers, on top of salads. So they're fun to just kind of have and a way to preserve those. So the bottoms are stored in a separate bag than the tops. So we're gonna store both in the fridge, and the bottoms will last a while. So not something you need to utilize right away. We have escarole. Escarole pairs really well in like soups and stews. It actually can be eaten raw, but it's typically sauteed or put in a soup or a stew. It is definitely a little bit bitter, but it pairs really well with beans. So you could do a bean and escarole soup. You can throw it into like a big pot of vegetable soup or a big pot of chicken soup. So if you're starting to preserve for the winter, even if you're not a soup fan now, you can definitely utilize this also. And we can just saute this as a side too. It doesn't have to be thrown in a soup or a stew. Stored in the fridge in a Debbie Meyer green bag or a Ziploc bag. So just like we would the lettuce. We have, can you show that? Can you hold it up? We have a Cubanelle pepper, and we also have a green bell pepper. Our peppers are stored in the crisper drawer of your fridge or in the fridge somewhere, wherever you have space. They can be eaten raw. They're great in sauteed vegetables. They're just great chopped up as a snack on top of salads. They can be stuffed. They can be roasted, they can be grilled, so lots of options there for Cubanelles and green bells. Can we hold this one up? We have summer squash, so there's a variety of different summer squash that we received. These are stored in the fridge. Summer squash can be eaten raw. It can be used in baked goods, so you can shred it and use it in baked goods. I like to, if I'm not ready to bake right now, I like to shred it, measure it out, and label the bag with how much I measured, usually like 1 to 2 cup increments. And then I use that for baked goods. These can be used as a substitute for noodles. They can be used, they can be grilled. We love them just simply sliced either into rounds or into long, thin strips, a little bit of olive oil, salt and pepper, and just grilled. Super simple, super easy. But there's a lot of recipes on the blog for summer squash because I know we get a lot of them for a lot of weeks. So there's lots of options for how to use them. Here, let's put that down. We have tomatoes. So we have a mix of beefsteak and red early girls. These get stored on the counter at room temperature. If you still have some tomatoes from last week, you're gonna wanna utilize those first and then utilize the new ones that you just received this week. If you have an overabundance of tomatoes, think about making a big batch of sauce, a big batch of pico de gallo or salsas. There's been a lot of posting about canning and preserving because this is tomato season, but it will run out and we want to keep those tomatoes lasting. You can also freeze these. So you can remove the stem and just freeze them whole. Or there's other ways to preserve them. So freezing and cooking down, and you can make the soups and you can make the sauces also. I made a big batch last week of pico de gallo and we had taco night and that was delicious. It was just fresh and easy. We have all the ingredients you need for that. So those are our big tomatoes stored on the countertop. Once you slice them, you do need to store them in the fridge and then it's really, you really kind of need to use them within a day or two, preferably within a day. The other tomatoes that we received were our cherry tomatoes, and Rhett helped me pick these today. So same thing, store them on the countertop. These can just be eaten as snacks, which is what we like to do, or they can be used in recipes. They can be used with the big tomatoes. They can be used in salads. Pretty sure this is going to be featured in our recipe this week, so stay tuned for that on Thursday. We have basil. So basil gets stored on the countertop also in a glass of water. Make sure that that gets, that water stays in that. I left for the weekend and my water was low and came home to wilted basil, which was not fun because I didn't really do a good job of prepping my vegetables before we left. So I either should have used it or brought it with me. So store this on the counter. It's great to season things with, great in salad dressings. It's also good in sauces. So if we're making sauce, if we're making salsas, you can throw this. It's great for pestos. So I made a big batch of pesto and then froze little cubes of the pesto so that I can just pull that out. Okay, couple more items. Can you hold this one? Can you hold this one? So we have hot peppers. We got to pick 2 hot peppers. This is a poblano. They get stored in the fridge and are just used for heat, to add heat to a dish. So we can roast them, we can add them to the pico de gallo, we can add them to salsas for heat. You can actually stuff poblanos, so are milder. You can stuff jalapenos too, so you can stuff any of them, but poblanos tend to be milder in heat, so they can be stuffed also. What else can we use? Oh, if you want less heat, then remove the membranes and the seeds, and then you'll get less heat. We have eggplant, and eggplant is stored in the fridge. You can peel it, and then you can roast it, you can fry it, you can bread it and air fry it, which is one of our favorite ways. There's also an eggplant dip on the blog. And there's also like an eggplant toast, I think, is also on the blog. Okay, 3 more items, I think. And I apologize if I miss any because he's moving stuff as we go. So we have shishito peppers. Shishito peppers, 1 in 5, 1 in 10 can be hot, so be aware of that. You wanna hold one up for them? You hold one up and show it to them? Oh, did you help pick them? So these can be eaten raw, they can be cut up, they can be preserved just by freezing them. You can freeze them whole, you can chop them up and freeze them. There's a bunch of recipes on the blog for shishitos. I know there's pickled shishitos, there's fried shishitos, there's blistered shishitos, so they're just fun to serve as a side to pretty much any dish. And then last but not least, we have our melons. So we have cantaloupe, which gets stored in the fridge. This did not last yet. Last week when we had it, we sliced it up and everyone ate it that night. So can be served just as is. Once we slice it, pull out the seeds, chop it up, or you can eat it if you want it, or you can throw it on the grill. You can drizzle a little bit of honey on it. Same thing with our watermelon. So our watermelon gets put right in the fridge immediately, so it's nice and cold. Slice it up. It's either seeded or not seeded. It's either red or yellow or orange. So they look exactly the same. You won't know the difference when you pick them. You won't know till you slice it open. But super sweet, super delicious, both of the melons. So stored in the fridge, chopped up, and great for a snack. You can make like a fruit salad. You can make grilled fruit. You can make fruit skewers, but typically it doesn't last much longer than that. Doesn't really make it into a recipe in our house. The kids devour it. So that is it. If you have any, those are seeds. If you have any questions, please make sure you post in the Facebook group and tag me. I will see you all again next Tuesday. And remember, your focus first is to get those radish greens off, put them separate, get everything stored, and then try to figure out what you're gonna use each item for this week. And we've been getting a lot of tomatoes. So what are we utilizing the tomatoes for? What are we utilizing the summer squash for? Because you probably have leftovers from last week unless you've done a really good job of utilizing those. And that is it. I will see you all again next week. Rhett will be gone and will be home by then. Can you wave bye?